to feel like my kids are living in a world that is so flawed that they can't have any hope.
Oh, so you want to talk about hope, Bo? Obama ran on hope. Remember when he got elected? And we felt like maybe, just maybe, we got out of that bad place and made it to a good place. That the whole country was really ready to turn the corner. You remember that amazing feeling we had during the inauguration? I was sitting right next to you. And we were so proud. And we saw him get out of that limo and walk alongside of it and wave to that crowd. Tell me you weren't terrified when you saw that. Tell me you weren't worried that someone was going to snatch that hope away from us like they always do. That is the real world, Bo. And our children need to know that that's the world that they live in.
ABC's Blackish covered the tough issue of police brutality, how families deal with the real issues, and maintaining hope for future generations. This riveting episode perhaps gave America a glimpse of what some African American families face every day. Showrunner Kenya Barris explained to the New York Times what he was trying to accomplish with the episode when he said, "Police brutality is the issue we chose to talk about, but the bigger issue for me is talking to your kids about what's going on in the world. It used to be you could shelter them in your own way, but with internet and phones and 24-hour news, you can't avoid those conversations." Not only did the Blackish cast accomplish that, but this time television programming was used to open up dialogue at the dinner table that could possibly shape future voters. With us again on the panel, Ralph Chittum's Senior Vice Chairman, D.C. Republican Party, Will Jawando, former White House official, Barbara Arnwine, founding president, Transformative Justice Coalition, and Dr. Christopher Metzler, political scientist, president and CEO, FHW Fit. My question to the panel is, after watching that incredibly powerful Blackish episode, why is it that nothing was mentioned during the Republican debate about anything that is truly relevant to the African American community?
That is a very good question. For the brief time that I actually watched it, I actually tweeted, I'm sure Roland is screaming, what about education? What about, criminal justice reform? What about Flint, Michigan? They spent more time last night on immigrant issues than they have spent during the entire debate on issues that are specifically relevant to the Black community. And I don't understand why they don't.
Now, and let me be fair here, in that it's not only the Republican Party, but even on the Democratic side, you have, for example, the Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee, who just came out and supported, gave their endorsement to Hillary Clinton without extracting any level of policy concession, any level of policy debate, any level of policy commitment. So it's not just the Republicans, the Democrats seem to be void as well.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, that's why I love the fact that Black Lives Matters is active right now, because they are doing precisely what needs to be done, which is demanding policy, commitment on policy. And I think that's been really remarkable in this whole election cycle, to see that these young folks are the only people who are really out there publicly demanding policy change and holding people accountable.
No, I agree, and I've written a couple pieces on this. I wrote something for The Root talking about criminal justice reform, and before that for BET about my fears of raising a black son and having the talk and my encounters with law enforcement as a young black man. And I've got 3 daughters now. My 2-year-old can already do my phone and undo it, and so the point of the show that they
send her to Apple.
Yeah, exactly.
The FBI needs your daughter badly.
Exactly. But you know, Barbara's right. The entry point for a lot of young people now is this criminal justice, these issues, but it touches on so many other issues. And I will say, for example, you heard Hillary Clinton this week say that her super predator language was a mistake and she shouldn't have said that, and that was precipitated by Black Lives Matter movement activists paying $500 to come to a fundraiser and get that extraction. And the fact that you don't hear those issues on the Republican side, and now I will take a little issue, I think, on Flint, on education issues, on the Democrats in these debates have been tackling these issues and addressing them head on.
No, in the debates you're right, but my point was that with all the things, you know, Hillary Clinton is running on a narrative and she's running on a record that in many instances is an anathema to what substantive policy impact her husband's policies and the policies she supported have had.
Hey, look, I ran.
She is no friend of black people.
Well, no,
she's no friend of black people.
And how do you have a debate yesterday where
nothing gets discussed?
Where Ted Cruz had just held up in the Senate any discussion on the Flint funding. And no one talked about it at all.
He put a soft hold on the bill so that he could read it. And as of 8:30 last night, that hold was removed. The bill is going to the floor. So he had every right to say, I want to read this before I vote on it. Because what we've had for so long on the Hill is people voting on stuff and not knowing anything. So it's going to the floor. It's going to the floor.
No, that was a signal.
You talk about the Hill. You know, look, I worked up there 7, 8 years. I'm running for Congress now. You know that. There is a problem on both sides. The Republican side is that they talk about what they're going to repeal and not do.
Right.
Now, at least the Democratic discussion is what they want to do. But there are problems on the Democratic side. We need leaders. There's a reason 90% of our elected officials in this country are white, and that 53% of Congress are millionaires. The issues that are impacting black people, people of color, low-income people in this country have generally not been at the forefront, and that's what we need. That's what Black Lives Matter is part of tapping into. That's what we need, new candidates, new people running to try to tap into those things.
Well, and we talk about the issue of criminal justice and criminal justice reform. Let's be clear. As much as people hate, at least Democrats, liberals, hate the Koch brothers, let's talk about the amount of money that they have personally put forth for dealing with issues of criminal justice.
That's because they want some changes.
And that's why they're blocking education and other things. Listen, I just want to hear about jobs. That's what I want to hear about.
And substantive conversation about jobs. Coming up, now that we've discussed a few of the issues, are the presidential candidates addressing them to connect with African American voters? We'll discuss. Jesse Smollett, Andrew Day, and soul legend Sam Moore chat about Ray Charles' musical footprint and honoring him in TV One's Ray Charles tribute at the White House. And Grammy-nominated singer Tweet talks about her new album. For the latest news, stay up to date and informed at newsonenow.com. It's 28 past the hour. Stay with us. We'll be right back.